Are we fulfilling that? Is what I'm asking you. That every time you come to your seat, that it's done with a certain awareness, whether we are rushing about like I am sometimes or not. But it's solely focused on I am preparing to engage in practice to generate merit and loving kindness and compassion, etc., for the benefit of all sentient beings. That is my job. That is my purpose. That is my drive. I hope it is yours also. That you're not coming, oh, because Rinpoche will be upset if he doesn't see my face or doesn't know I'm there and so forth and so on. Then might as well go for a hike, go for a walk, go be in nature. It is not a chore. It is a responsibility that we gladly embody, that we gladly and joyously accept for the benefit of all sentient beings. And even when we or him, when I am maybe tired or distracted in some way, I say to myself, get your lazy self up and go practice. And usually I always feel better. Maybe you have this feeling also sometimes. Get my lazy self up and go practice and stop dawdling around and wasting time, which is so precious. So each time you come to the Lakan, maybe we have to create, it is now the virtual Lakan, the Lakan of cyberspace, the Gampa of spatial temporality, quantum existence, existing in space and particles of light and patterns of energy flowing through space. In each one of the little cubicles that I see, they are the retreat cells. So I hope you're making use of this time of training. I believe Morris Konofsky is a theater theorist. Order saveth thee from death. So he's talking is if we have order in our lives, and there we have a sense of what to do, we know what we're doing and how to do it, etc., that the order dispels chaos. And when order dispels chaos, then harmony arises. If we are just scattered about going here and there, usually our life is in disarray. We have lost our focus. We've lost our intention. What is my intention? What do I wish to accomplish, aspire to accomplish? So I wonder if you ask yourself these questions as we dream about our day. As I was thinking last night, so I want to get these thoughts out. Hopefully they're not too disjointed as we have begun. Trust, faith, devotion, conviction, commitment. In one text, it says, this is the age of fearlessness. Fearlessness. And we think that, oh, this is a good thing. But then the master says, what is it that we're fearless about? We're fearless about our actions that arise from ignorance and desire and anger and all of the various other obscurations and hindrances and defilements. We have no fear about our pride, our arrogance, our greed, our lust, our jealousy, our stupidity, our anger, etc. No fear whatsoever. So the idea is to change that paradigm and to look at them with wisdom and see that if we function from this type of state of fearlessness, that only suffering for ourselves and suffering for others will arise. So those 5 things, someone asked a very important question, which is pretty common. I think it doesn't matter whether you're maybe grew up in Asia or wherever it may be, that when we engage in activities by rote, without any really investigation, as the Buddhists pointed out, whatever is being said, you should doubt, you should investigate. And with Lama Kaze Rinpoche, you must come to your own direct experience to ground yourself in your knowledge and in your wisdom that brings about those 5 various aspects. Watching these nature shows, the baby bird doesn't know how to fly. The instinct and the capacity is there, but they cannot fly straight away. Now, so some animals, they come out of the womb, and a few moments later, they're up and walking around. It isn't necessary for their survival. But using this concept of the bird that must learn to fly, we are like little bird. And for us, in our illusions, we want to fly straight away. No matter what we do, we want it quick, we want it cheap, without effort, and fast. Easy equals failure. It takes time to learn to ride the bike. It takes time to learn how to swim. It takes time to learn how to fly. And it takes time to truly learn how to master your mind and sit upon your seat with commitment and conviction that you will do so for the benefit of others. Our thought is self-cherishing, self-centered, and I. What is it doing for me? Why don't I feel something as a result? When will things change for me as a result of doing this a particular practice or approach? I feel like I'm just going through the motions. Correct. If that is your attitude, then you have not committed. You have no convictions. You have no faith, no devotion, and no trust. Those 5 things, though, stem forth from your own thinking and your own decision. So many years ago, having a conversation with whether one believed in a spiritual path or whether one did not. And I'm not sure some great explorer or mystic, whether you decide or not decide, you have decided. Maybe it was Henry Ford that said, if you believe you can do something, or if you believe you can't do something, then you can. So it comes down to, what is it that you choose to believe? And I think everyone, I can say for myself, especially in my early practice, is what am I doing? Why am I doing? What is this? And I would ask questions of Kaze Rinpoche, and you know what he said. I didn't ask you whether you believed or not believed, nor did I ask you to examine or not examine at this particular point. I asked you to practice. Did you practice? I guess not enough. Then go practice. And through the doing of it, the bird attempts to fly. And eventually it flies. So have you committed yourself, even though you may not fully understand the process? Have you committed yourself with conviction to engage in the process? This morning, I'm sure you already have been on some electronic apparatus with no reservation whatsoever. And maybe you forgot to charge it and you went to turn it on. Oh, rats. Then immediately you knew what to do, how to get it activated once again. But somehow, when it comes to our spiritual, that of the spirit, to develop that of the spirit, to develop the consciousness, we are a little wishy-washy. Oh, I don't know if I want to. Well, I don't have time to. Well, I don't know if this works. And why am I doing this? And it doesn't, we go on and on and on until we have talked ourselves out of what could be that which took us forward with greater insight and understanding about our lives in relationship to the lives of others. So it says, in the six paramitas, generosity, patience, uh, not perseverance, but ethics, then perseverance and concentration and wisdom. We forget that when we feel, I can't go on, I can't do this, it doesn't make sense, then immediately the switch, oh, now I can practice perseverance, real perseverance, to persevere in the face of adversity, to persevere in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. I refuse to succumb. You knock me down. I've already stood up in the fall. This insurmountable, compassionate nature, indomitable, that must sustain itself and has sustained itself from life to life. So when you hit the wall, then you go, oh, wonderful. Longjimba, turning adversity into advantage. And if everything is easy, which a lot of people expect, oh, my life should be easy. I'm entitled. Why don't I have? I can go and be whatever I do. If I want to be in public and talk like a banshee on my phone, it is my right. Who are you to? We go on and on. What is my right? What is the right of others? And how might we be more kind and caring and compassionate toward ourselves and toward others? And if we're not that way toward ourselves, how is it possible to be authentically like that toward others? So don't you think it comes back down to, as simple as I've told before, I'm sure maybe too many times and I've distorted it, but I distinctly remember when I was in junior high school at 216 Madison Street, and I was in my little retreat cell, my little room, on a cloudy day, and blind, I pulled down and looked out and had many thoughts. But the thought that came to me was simple about what one chooses to believe in. And, I've told you stories, Selma, Alabama, with my aunt, blah, 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 going to many different type of churches and doctrines. And you always heard about hell and damnation and about God and Jesus Christ and the devil and angels and things of this sort and hell. And I started to ask myself, where were these things? I hadn't really seen hell, but I've heard people say they felt like their life was like hell. And I hadn't really seen the devil, even though my mother said that she didn't have to look too far to see the devil. She was talking about me. And then what angels I have seen in terms of my apparitions or visions, I wasn't quite sure. So I came to the conclusion at that young age is that I had placed and fixated a belief upon that which I had not seen. Then it came to me, metaphor, building the bridge between juxtaposition ideas. It came to me If that was the case, free will, I had a choice to what I wished to believe in. Was it not my choice or an individual's choice? That's real freedom. The freedom to believe as you choose upon your own investigation. So, have you investigated really what we're doing? And have you made a choice? This is my belief system. It doesn't negate others, nor does it affirm. It is merely the belief system that I have chosen. It is the dharma. It is the path. It is the way. It is the truth. It is the unfolding. It is the appearance that one has made a decision to go about. So, what have you decided upon? I would assume that if you're in your little square, match game, little square, it reminds me of so many things from childhood. Maybe I'll open one of the doors up and you'll have a mask with a funny face on. I forget the name of the show. But what have you, if you investigated, and have you come to the point where you're at a quandary? I don't want to do this anymore. It's too difficult. It doesn't make any sense. And at that moment, please stop and go, this is the blessing. I have come to the moment of decision. Do I continue in the face of adversity, which is a blessing? Or do I take the easy route and I go running about looking for something else, which I will come to the same juncture at again? Eventually, we have to decide, what is your rudder? What winds fill your sail as you move through the roughness of the sea to the opposite shore? This joke, two snails are going along and they're trying to get across the road. And a turtle appears and says, would you like a ride? And the two snails get on the back of the turtle and they look at each other and they go, hold on. It just makes me laugh. If you think the turtle moves slow, it's all perspective from the point of the snail who move even slower. So I can see two snails having a conversation, holding on, going, ooh, here we go. It's very much like us. And that's why you say kale kale, slowly, slowly. So do you have commitment? Do you have conviction? Or are you willing to trust? That's a decision. And devotion. Devotion is tricky for us. I'm not devoted to anything. I don't kowtow to anything. But no, there is a higher force and a higher power, which we dismiss. That's right within us at this very moment. It is with you that you have to sort of acquiesce to the subtlety of your own spiritual essence, your consciousness that is the embodiment of all of these qualities of the Buddhas, past, present, and future. But we disregard and have no faith and no trust and no devotion to ourselves. And therefore, how can we have that to anything else? Through these practices, again, we want to build the wings so we can fly. Trust that the ability of flight is already within you. As I was saying before, if everything is easy in our life, you won't grow, you can't develop. Again, Zen Master Lee would say, when it rains on all dogs. What is he talking about? Oh, into everyone's life, some difficulty will befall them. That is samsara. That's how it is. Don't feel like you have been persecuted and singled out. because when it rains on all dogs. So I again have the image like a 5-year-old. There's the sort of mangy, gruffy little doggy running around in the middle of the streets. And then there comes the well coiffed, which I have seen in their little booties in a silver tracksuit and a little tiara and a diamond necklace being led down the street by their master. And all of a sudden it rains. They both get wet. So I try to keep that as a perspective for myself. And all this is just coming from my practicing last evening. Again, to say, as Lama Kazi would say to us, not trying to sell you anything, not trying to convince you of anything. You have to take the path yourself. The Buddha said, I cannot give you the quality of enlightenment which you already have. How can I give you what you already have? But I can reveal, and I have revealed, and will reveal the path by which you can follow to come to your own inner recognition. And you should doubt, but it should not impede your progress of moving along. It doesn't mean doubt and just sit down. With doubt, continue to explore, continue to recognize, open your eyes and see for yourself where to go. You have to expand your intellect and open your consciousness and see with a broader eye, wisdom eye. So this is just some thoughts that I wanted to get out before we start to practice today, which comes back to the simple question. Like the old preacher, I remember sitting when I was a small child in Selma, Alabama. I think I was at a Pentecostal church. And you're sitting in those hard wooden pews, and the preacher comes up and lays their hand and says, do you believe? Do you believe? And they put that, do you believe? And they put their hand and they shake their hand. And all of a sudden, this person's body went into convulsions, their eyes rolled back, foaming at the mouth and speaking in tongues. Scary. It is because they believed. Now, granted, the preacher was merely the catalyst. They had to make the decision. So again, I ask the same question of you. Don't worry. I cannot lay my hand upon you and you will not roll your eyes back, fall down in convulsions and foam at the mouth. Even though if you did it, it would probably go viral. Somebody would be filming it. Anyway, but the question is, have you made a decision to believe? The same way someone says, I don't believe. Then I went, wonderful. Then you have made the decision. You made a decision not to believe, or you made the decision to believe. There is no escape from the karmic chain of believing. We do it all day long, consciously, unconsciously, moving in and out the realm of belief and disbelief. There's so many things. It's like even just now, I'm looking at you on this little screen and I have a bigger screen, and these two screens are talking to each other, and they talk to each other with such ease, more so than perhaps two human beings who actually created the systems can talk to each other. I find that so hard. And thus McLuhan, from sometime in the 70s, said, we have arrived at the point where our technology has advanced beyond our capacity to emotionally apprehend what we have created in an inability to talk to each other in a kind and coherent and understanding way. We have lost our rudder. And all we're trying to do is reestablish and recognize what is already within. Anyway, I have a whole dear series of notes, which I can't go to because it would take all of this time. I will come back to, but I must ask you the first question, and you can contemplate for yourself. Where are we now? I think I must ask this question. Where are we now? Where are you now? The pause is perfect. Well, the pause is premeditated. So you can ask yourself, where am I now? Are you more kind to yourself and others? Or are you less fearful about the present situation, which is quite dangerous in many, many ways? Psychologically, obviously, emotionally, societal, obviously, biological, economical. So many things are at the tipping point. Where are we and where are you? Again, I thought, are you less fearful? Are you more diligent in your actions with yourself and with others? Do you find some comfort and refuge in your practice? The fear of whether you will catch this and what degree this coronavirus may affect you or loved ones. How does that weigh upon you? Have you looked into your own heart and changed with loving kindness and compassion? There's much more I'd add here, but I could leave it for some other time. But the main thing is, like the old preacher says, do you believe? And I'm asking yesterday, today is Nima Oza. Guru Rinpoche comes in the form of Nima Oza, the one who can walk upon the rays of the sun. In Bhutan, Namkai, Nima Oza, Namkai Nima Oza, his reincarnation is at Kajak Monastery in Batang, Bundang. So I had audience with him, so I can say I have met Nima Oza. And he is the one who also was able to, the Tantrakas of the time who were jealous of him, somehow gave him poison, which he knew. He consumed, and in consuming the poison, he transformed it into the brilliancy of light, sunlight. And he could walk supposedly on the beams of the sun. It may be nothing more than an allegorical tale that says by taking adversity and turning it into advantage, we have this capacity. So today we do the practice of Guru Rinpoche, who manifested in the form of Nima Oza. You could look it up. So again, just to maybe end this opening, is where are we now? Have you decided that this is your path? That this is the truth for you that you will pursue to come to a fuller understanding and evolution of your own conscious state, your own spiritual aspect. And sometimes when we hear the word spiritual, this is not some pedantic conceptuality, a feeling that is beyond your ability to fully explain. I think very few of us have any idea of how does this thing work, this little rectangular object. It is pretty amazing. 50 years ago, it didn't exist. And the amount of knowledge that's contained in this little rectangular object would fill maybe this whole house, the computers that will be needed. But it's been condensed down to its essence. That's our practice also. Longjin Ningdek, the heart drop essence of the great expanse. But the heart drop essence of the great expanse permeates each and every one of us. It is merely allowing ourselves to open to this spatiality, to the luminosity of our own existence. our own spiritual inheritance. But we don't have the faith. And faith is trusting in something that is beyond your maybe rational ability to believe. You come to a point where you just have to believe. If I'm standing, I don't know, on the bridge by, I don't know, I'll say Victoria Falls, and I'm hooked up to a bungee, this bungee jumping, isn't that faith? Or I'm in an airplane and I'm in tandem hooked up to somebody else and they're going, okay, here we go. And I may go, wait a minute, what am I doing? Is that not faith and trust? Trust that the bungee cord is not going to snap, that it really, the harness is secure, and that parachute is going to open. Now, maybe that's the excitement behind it. That's the thrill. I don't need that excitement. No, I want that. I think about it, but it's okay. I'd rather do it other ways. But you have faith. You get in your car and you drive your car, and probably you don't even look at the tires to see if they're full. Hopefully, you have gas and you believe it will. We have faith in so many things, but we have no faith in ourselves and very little faith in others. So no wonder we don't make progress. And when things get difficult, we fall down. But when things get difficult, this is what makes us stronger. It's a dumb statement. What is it that builds character? It is the strength and the intensity of a given moment, which we walk through the fire that makes us better and tempered like fine steel that cuts through our own ignorance and desire and anger. Anyway, I'm talking mostly to myself. Perhaps it makes some sense to you this morning, I hope. Again, I hope your morning has been pleasant and peaceful and harmonious and perhaps not too productive. And give yourself sometimes permission to be lazy, to just let everything go, step off of the merry-go-round. But even doing all that, never let go of your trust and your faith and your devotion, your commitment and your conviction. It is your right. We have the right as human beings to investigate and to decide what is it that we will believe in and what is that we will not believe in. As I was talking, I don't know, maybe yesterday, I think I said, many things happen to all of us in our lives. Many things. Good, bad, indifferent. And you have to make a decision. I said, even when they put the gun to your head, don't be angry. Even when they're beating you, don't be angry. When they're calling you names, don't be angry. When you're degraded and treated unfairly just because of color or gender or how you dress, etc., don't be angry. You will have the opportunity to truly practice, and you'll see whether you have arrived at these 5 things, which I'm going to believe we have the aspiration and the application to do so. Take a breath in, please. Already too much talking. Oh. And breathe out. In breath. Out breath. And again, in breath. Out breath. And for a moment, just sit. Slow down. Again, get off the merry-go-round. Maybe some of you know where Coney Island, merry-go-round, carousel. I guess there's a difference between the carousel and the merry-go-round. I forget. Or maybe you're at the base of Sacré-Cœur in Paris. Get off the merry-go-round. Or you go to the amusement park in some major city or some small out-of-the-way place. Let's get off in the merry-go-round. Just sit for a moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. Allow there to be space for the breath to enter. And allow there to be space for the breath to exit. And wherever you feel tension in your body this moment, just let it go. Be aware with the feeling of letting it go. Whatever's happening at a physical level, emotional level, a spiritual level, wherever your heart happens to be. Space. You know the next line. Space, the last frontier. It is the last frontier. It is the unknown realm, which we are so afraid to investigate and enter into. We want to know everything. No, I want to enter into the unknown. I want to know the unknown. But the only way you can know the unknown is to enter and let go. When I go to sleep, I wonder, where was I? Is that not like death? In the morning, I reawake. Is that not like a rebirth? And in the interim, from the awaken to the sleeping to the awaken, the bardos of transition. Rest.
Rinpoche, there's been a problem. Oh no.
Happens.
There we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Now it's good.
I wish it was that easy. I could walk up to you and I could just lay my hand upon you and say, do you believe? Let's see what happens. And then all of a sudden, like Lama La said, that's good. It would be clearer. So therefore, I asked of the enlightened ones, may I lay my hand. I really have this thought all the time. As a kid, may I place my hand upon you like the great healers. And in that instant, may you see clearly in the opening of the wisdom eye that would reveal the essence of your own profound enlightened quality within, and like that. I wish, like the great healers and the great mystics, to lay my hand upon you and you would be healed. Maybe next life I will be able to do this, is my desire, my fantasy. Take a breath in, please, and breathe out again. Now just look around your space. What have you created in your space? Because that space is a reflection of your own conscious state, your own reality. What have you put to orient yourself in the reality in which you exist? You may have thought it was a haphazard process. Not really. We could investigate and analyze and unpack. Even I look at your spaces and I see how and what have you oriented your spaces with? Because the space in which we exist is not separate from us, but reveals something about us. I look at my space and I get, my goodness, how did I arrive with all of this stuff? What am I going to do with it? I better give it away, designate it before it's too late, because I don't want them to bicker over it. Better to give it away soon. I had the thought the other night, like I was reading some quote from Zara. Renounce attachment to the chains of samsara. Burn them, break them, and be free. Give up worldly attachment to samsara. Open your eyes so you can see. Oh, I must dress like Zara. Give it all away. Everything. Rest again for a moment. The second question, are you ready to change? Are you really ready to change? The only change that will occur is the change we decide upon. Talking to another teacher, and before we change, some of us will die. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And then maybe next time, next life, if one has the good fortune to awaken, you try again. Why wait? You have wonderful opportunity with the preciousness of this life. The preciousness of this life. The preciousness of this life. Because, what is the phrase? All lives are precious. All lives are precious. Everyone. Breathe into that. Open. To convey to you when Toko Urgyen Rinpoche says these things, the feeling that one experiences, not because the teacher or the master has given something, but merely pointed us in the right direction so we hit the target. Rest in your own present moment wakefulness, unadorned, unfabricated moment of wakefulness, vivid awareness. This is Chopa Rinpoche. Vivid wakefulness. Maybe last thing to say as it just enters into my mind. If you want to swim, you have to jump into the water. Would you like to go for a swim? In the calmness of the sea? Would you come and swim with me? On one occasion, I did see the dolphins and play. But I would love to see the humpback whale as it swims away. Wouldn't you like to come and swim with me in the vastness of the sea? Watch the sun set into the horizon as you look out and swim, you and me. Milarepa Sahara. Breathe in again and breathe out to cleanse and purify. Too much talking, right? I must go away so I can clear my own mind from my own madness. I must entertain myself. But I always entertained myself, even from the time when I was a small child. I can remember entertaining myself in every place I was reflecting, every place I've gone. I am not living that much differently than I am presently now. But if you know how to entertain yourself, you'll never be bored. I don't know what to do. I am so this. What are you complaining? There's so much to do. I'm so tired. I have so much to do. In your heart space, connect to your flower. Every time you see a flower, I want the flower to be your trigger. Every time you see a flower, you breathe and open your heart. But you think I'm talking about the flower of a flower. Everyone you see is a flower. Every moment is the flower. And therefore, you have vast opportunities to breathe and to open, to be free. In the heart, there's a flower, the lotus, and upon the lotus flower is the moon. And upon the moon is a crystal. In the middle of the crystal is the ah. I'm sure somewhere you can take the crystal and put the ah inside. You know how they put a ship in the bottle? We've seen crystals that have the, maybe someone can find out how we can do that. A crystal with the ah inside. It's radiant like the sun. I heard another image is that you can see a bright light, the brightest light, but then look up into the sky and see the sun. Be like the sun. And then the ah rises out of the crystal through the channel and out the crown of the head, 1 cubit above you. And it too sits on a lotus, sun, moon disk, and the ah. And the ah radiates light out in the 10 directions as an offering and a blessing and cleansing and purifying and transforming and liberating all of phenomena and all of the beings into their enlightened aspects. And then that light comes back to the ah. And the ah transforms into a hum. And the hum transforms into Doji Sempa. In the heart of Doji Sempa, lotus, moon disk, hum, and the 100-syllable mantra. And as it flows and radiates out the light in the 10 directions, again, cleansing and purifying obscurations, hindrances, defilements, negative karmic actions, and all the disease born of our mind. That all is becoming pure in the essence that it already is, because the essence of all that arises is spatiality and luminosity. There's no impurity in this emptiness. Invoke that quality, and as you recite, again, like rain or mist falling onto you, into your heart space and radiating out, cleansing and purifying all of the past, all of the present, and therefore the purity of the future can unfold. Siddham Siddham Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Tava Tata Gata Varumani Mudavinde Bhava Mahasamaya Gadua Yuzum Badruzadu Zamaya Madavalaya Badruzadu Denova Didu Mebua Sudokaya Mebua Zulokaya Mebua Hanaratu Mebua Salwaziri Mebreya Zara Gamazu Deme Siddham Siddham Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sada Tata Tata Varumani Mudavinde Bhava Mahasamaya Gadua Badruzadu Zamaya Madavalaya Azuma yada do adam badu zadu zama yamano bada yabadu zadu neno bada do sudo gayo mabo zubo gayo mabo anara do mabo zawa zere mebraya to zara nama do me zetum zirunguru ha sarada da gada baru mane muzo menze bawa ma samaya satu again you should visualize that you have been purified and cleansed and blessed through the recitation and the visualization and the presence of Bodhisattva. But all phenomena now has become the mandala of the deity, and therefore it is the mandala of the enlightened purity of all of the Buddhas of the past, the present, and future. Recognize, or at least consider your purity, your unadorned radiance, spatiality, and luminosity conjoined together. Dorje Sempa dissolves into light. And again, like we say, like a pouring the milk into the water, indivisible, one and the same. Rest in the state of unfabricated purity, beyond conceptuality and non-conceptuality. Rest. Gently breathing out. Go idea. So maybe a lot of people don't know why we turn this prayer wheel. I'm not turning this for me. I turn this for you and all sentient beings. Imagine this is a quantum fission reactor, a little atomic nuclear plant. And as I turn it, then the particles, the quantum particles of energy flow out into space as a result of all of the prayers and mantras that exist within. So it's like a little generator. I'm turning it and it's always going out at a subatomic quantum level. I use that language. A subatomic quantum level permeating space. And imagine, but the more wheels that are turning, the more of the quantum energy of loving kindness and compassion is permeating and filling the space. So again, going back to as I was saying earlier, whether someone says, that's not true, that's nonsense. And you should say to them, you're absolutely correct. But it's what I have chosen to do. You can do whatever you choose to do. And it doesn't negate what I am doing because consciously I have made that choice. And there are conscious choices that we make and unconscious choices that we make that brings about certain consequences or fruition of a given action. So why should I allow you to usurp my right to place my belief as I choose? Then that becomes a very tenuous territory. You choose to be angry. You choose to be violent. You choose to be prejudiced. You choose to be hateful. I guess that is your choice. But does it make you happy? Does it bring about happiness for others? Does it help a household or a community or a workspace or a society or a country? No. It only creates more darkness and more violence and more chaos and more unrest. So please allow me to sit upon my seat and turn my wheel. Doesn't that make sense? I'm asking you now, does that make sense? If I was in the class with you, I would have like the old teacher with a ruler. Wham! Give me a response. Like old schoolmaster. I must, in some monastery, in some ancient time, oh, we don't want to go to Rinpoche's class. He's too rough. And I hope there was another student who would say, but he cares. So let's go. And we will ride the winds of his sail across the sea of suffering. I want it like this. It's Sunday morning. I must make you laugh and entertain you and tell you stories, else you won't come back to the program. Anyway, take a breath in, breathing out. And then there's 5 things. Employ. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may recognize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessing that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then you should visualize, either you can visualize Guru Rinpoche, or if you have the Dzogchen in front of you, you're taking refuge in the full lineage of our traditions, but the full lineage of all enlightened traditions. We take refuge. Namo lama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, lama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo. Lama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo. Nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, jo lagab nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo, nama lagab tujo, singa lagab tujo, jo lagab tujo, giru lagab tujo. So again, this concept, as I was just thinking, remember, if you look at the movies, 1940s, 1940s, and they were like, talking about going to the moon, right? So this is a fantasy. Nobody thought they would actually be able to go to the moon until they actually went to the moon. No one thought they would actually be able to put a probe out into the deepest, farthest reaches of space. Just science fiction. Until now, there are probes and instrumentation in the deepest parts of space. When I was, again, a child, Dick Tracy, it tells you my age, Dick Tracy, had a watch that he could talk and communicate through, right? Right? Well, now you have a watch that will tell you your heart rate, how many steps you have taken, remind you of specific, and on, and I guess you can do FaceTime on this watch, and so many things. Who would have thought? So this is belief, and this is the power of mind to create. What have you created in your life? And what will you create? And what do you desire to create? Do not let these seemingly darkened times, which really is just an illusion, is really a blessing. Don't allow it to damper your passion to create and live a full spiritual life. This words Lamakazi taught us. A full, passionate life. Even I say to myself when I'm doing the prostrations, whatever you're going to do, you better get on with it because you're on the backside of whatever your life happens to be. For you or you young people, you think the life is going to go on forever and forever. No, it is already on the countdown. For some, we are closer. Dream with passion, embrace life with loving kindness, and be of benefit to others. Make a change in this world. Don't sit around and bemoan the situation and get caught up in the rhetoric and the pedantic slogans and the wrangling of ignorance and stupidity under the guise of intelligence that we are subjected to every day. You should just go, that's wonderful. I see how you believe. And I don't fault you for it, but it's not how I believe. Because that belief system in which you are purporting has arisen from the poisons of the mind, ignorance and desire and anger. The one I wish to put forth will bloom from loving kindness and compassion. So I hope that this is what it is our attempt, not more an attempt, but we are striving to bring forth. And it must increase with great commitment and conviction, not playing around. I don't mean to be harsh, but if you're wavering, have doubt, but continue. But if you're with, oh, dread, I don't want to do this, but I have to because it's expected, go for a walk. Go do something else and see where your karma unfolds. If it is your karma, then you have no choice but to come back. And if it is not, follow your dharma, follow your truth, and allow your karma to be your guide. Doesn't that make sense? That way you don't waste your time. Time is too short. I'm really talking to me. So if you've taken refuge, then have comfort in that. But that's not enough because you have taken refuge. I was watching some animal. You want to know about the animal realm? This walrus, I'm not sure where it was. It was so sad. Somehow the environment is changing so rapidly that these walruses, they go onto these high cliffs and they're able to, at one time, they could go back on the ice and go back into the sea. But they get trapped and they have no course but to try to leap from the cliffs into the ocean. In this, they actually showed it. There's one huge walrus falling and hitting the rocks and landing with a broken dead body on the beach. And I saw it and went, oh no. It's like watching your mother fall to her death. We are not the walrus, even though we know of the song. The Beatles was onto something, weren't they? But you should think like this. Every bug, every worm, every life form is like our mother, and you connect and feel something, not an automaton just going through the motions, blindly being fed the thoughts of others. So we create this thought. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Let those words sink in. and become your guide. Then we invoke, invite, and open ourselves to the blessings of the sublime, auspicious ones, the great bodhisattvas. Zom na de na de da je to zo zeng a zum ba ye zeng ge to da ge dong ba be zo won la za zo da je zo zho me garu go zar de dun dun go jam be garu ba gir da ba dam ba won la gum ba da je ba ba je do bo da ba da de zen jen chan de kan go da de ba ye je chen ba ze ra tan ba de za san du be da je ba be wa ye wa je ba ye la za lo sham ba ju no ba den do je jen jen re jen ro lum bo jam be ba za yi nen go jen ba nam ba sa nam ga nen ba jo don don do go ba do je pa ga don jun do nu go ta ri je na ma yi za zen na na pa je jo chen jo chen ba ye la za za lo ren chen do je da je so ye ga don don mo la ma la nen dan don 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 ba ri ru gi jo za zen won do de ren jen do je ge ge ta zen chen do je pyo wa jen ge ge ma chen jo jo ren be bao de we da je la mo ge la za za lo sam ma chen bo ton jon je me bu me do don da me mo don don so ba ge bon don don wa me jon san dan do je gu do je ta na dun dun do ji chen bo run dun dun ji jen gi chen jen za su ji zu ge de da je be jen jen go wa gu la ta za lu da dun ji je jo wa dun bo la gen dun jo wa nun dun yi dun dun be be chen dun yi shi ju da ji de le bun dun ju ba ju ze zhou nan jie le ge le zhou jie zhou jie 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 be zhou gu la gong bu gan ye ba zhen zhou zhen bu jie ge zhou do wa da da zhang ba ye zhang ye do da ge do na zhen zhou de bu jie ge ba ta ba ta ne ge zhu jie jie ra ben jie dan jie be zhou be zhen zhen zhong du da zhang ye do de ne ge de zhou be zhen zhe zhong ge do jeze namga namba na dowa jeze nego ba jeze doje nego ne dowa daga sewa. All phenomena arise from their causes. Their causes are explained by the Buddha. A cessation of these causes too are taught us by the great sage. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the misery, suffering, and the causality of ignorance, desire, and anger in this world through loving kindness and compassion. Tabye donje, zabye runjonjo, zogye munjo, donge jonjo ba, zogye lombo, jewa jebe go, zage gobo, chula tata go, tayata o mune, maha muna yesoha, tayata mune 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 maha muna yesoha, tayata mune. We are receiving the blessings of the Buddha constantly. We are merely acknowledging it consciously at this moment. And so are all other sentient beings. It's like the sun is always present, but if you shroud yourself in a darkened room, how would you know? In the moment you stepped out of that darkened room, you would see the light of the stars and the light of the sun straight away. Let it be like that. Then the essence of the Buddha and remain in the presence of the Buddha and practice Tonlen. Just don't count the breath, just generating like a sun, the flower, constantly giving out the light of loving kindness. And it says immeasurable. Try to exhaust yourself. Give out more than you think you can. Immeasurable, inexhaustible. You made the vow, that's what you would do because you have the capacity to do so. Loving kindness and compassion radiating from the flower of your heart, the lotus of your heart, for the benefit of all sentient beings. And gently breathe out as the energy and the essence of the Buddha again merges with your own Buddha nature from which it has never been separate. And the two become one. Only oneness. Space between the thumbs. Breathe gently in and out through the mouth, and the eyes soften. Rest in the unadorned, uncontrived. And then from that you emerge without losing any of your qualities. So at least yesterday, again, it says the Guru Rinpoche Day, and as I said earlier, supposedly during this time period, Guru Rinpoche appeared as Namgai or Nima Ozer, who had magical, wonderful yogic qualities, also unorthodox, beyond conceptuality, beyond the constraints of society. It's like now, even just yesterday, hearing the entrapment of the concepts of beliefs that we have bought within this society that governs us, that is creating this strife and chaos that we're presently embodied in. Rise up, be knowledgeable of it, but we don't have to be inundated, right? We can be informed, but not inundated. Nor do we jump to the puppet strings of this conditionality that's being put forth, this poison. If we don't, we will only be more and more bound. Rise up. So through the practice, we can say is we don't look at the small conceptuality that drives a given structure or a society per se. Where is the universality of that connectedness that we're all sort of bound by in a positive way? Our consciousness, our heart, and our ability to choose what brings happiness as opposed to seeing that which brings suffering. When one neighbor hates the other, and one race hates the other, and one economical group profits by another, or political wranglement that is for the good of only a few, how can we have any harmony in a given society? It has to start with us, me, you, changing, and not going on some ranting soap opera box, not to demean soap operas, but maybe sometimes be silent, but be present and choose our own way. I don't have to go your way because you said so. You make a choice. Guru Rinpoche like this. Oh, Ngurgen Juji Nazan Bema Geza Dumbola Jazin Joji Guru Ne Bema June Zazura Guru Gando Mambo Gege Zazuda Juji Loje Zazuzu Guru Bema Ziti Ong Ngurgen Juji Nazan Bema Geza Dumbola Jazin Joji Guru Ne Bema June Zazura Guru Gando Mambo Gege zazu daruge chenje laje zazu so guru bema sidi o gen juji na zang zang bema geza dombo la jaze juji ne bema june zazu guru gano mabu gege zazu daruge chenje laje zazu so guru bema sidi Ima o dro 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 ge gen ge zen gan dro dro ni dro dro ge ga me be gan dro dro lo dro je wa jen go go na ga zen do do je do re ne la ma dro ge go la zo wa de wo ge be ma jo ne la zo wa de je nur ge dro be zen gan zo gun zo nyo do nyo den jen le ge ye je ge de do wa je be go do je je dro ne do 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 la ma do zo zo ge la zo wa de wo ge be ma jo ne la zo wa de me je de de zen gan zo do je do bo do we do la ja ga la do ge do do je de da ma jo do 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 zo ge la ma do be go la zo wa de wo ge be ma jo ne la zo wa de kun zo do zo ge ra je be ma ge ra ne na zo jo ga zo jo na no do do ga zo zo ga da la ma na la zo wa de zen de do ne da do je ru do no be do ya ya na do do be do zo ge go de go ge to be no je ba re me o zo she la zo wa de ze je go de do la de ze de Dreme ozor gen do zo zo ozar non je nam ge nam jo ba je me le me je la zo ba de do zo go ge be ma je ne ge ze do do bo go zo go do do zeng le me de do de go do ze be je la zo ba de bo me do ge gen ge bo da na do zo zo ge go je go go ge ren ze go 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 do do ze be zo we la ma nam la zo ba de Rero menjogi yogi bodando dozo somge goji go ne ranjango go zo donzeba zo la meze la zo de yo wa gandu yanda la manda do mejo ki ba la lo jojen sadana jo wanzo ne doji jinji go fa no to so Zoma home 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 Subtle body. Zoom e re re le le hanga ga 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 za 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 nya da na da na ba ba ma ya la wa sha ga za ra sha ome dan ma hito ba ba hito da ga da ha ya wa ta da ken sa yondo ro ha ye va me ne ma ha samana so ha Bhagwa Sambhaya Zaza Om Bam Om Ritsa Ramane Bhavadaye Soha Zabhadra Sambhaya Zaza Om Bam Om Bhadra Amrita Kundele Hana Hana Om Be Ranjing one also Jobe Lama da Neto Mebe Gunjan Jorge Gabo Jojo. Dutse Gabio Mezawa Mebe Gunwan Don Genamga Baja Samaza. Guru Rinpoche appears. Sange Dojan Zoge Jonam La Junjo Badu Dani Gab Suji Daji Zenjoge Bejo Nami Jola Benze Sange Joba Jo Sange Jodan Zoge Jonam La Junjo Badu Dani Gab Suji Daji Zenjoge Bejo Nami Jola Benze Sange Joba Jo Sange Jodan Zoge Jonam La Junjo Badu Dani Gab Suji Daji Zenjoge Bejo Nami Jola Benze Sange Joba Jo Za O Ba Mo Zoje na Ramba Demba Gu Zomba da Maha Sri Harakar Dene Doji Torwa Gurgu Luze Ram Yam Kam Unzu Arba Judo Zarba Dame Zubye Judo No Jome Dende Dende Rembo Nini Jen Gete Numbo Tormo Kado Doro Mumbo Bonzo Soba Dajen Gozo Jembo Go Homa Ho Soma Ho Bume Bate Sapa Rila Raba Sasanaza Zata Na Bate Tete da Baba Baja Namo Sabata Gata Bayo Mishu Mugube Sabata Mugate Sapa Rana Nagama Soha Namo Sabata Gata Bayo Mishu Mugube Sabata Mugate Sapa Rana Nagama Soha Namo Sabata Gata Bayo Mishu Mugube Sabata Mugate Sapa Rana Nagama Soha Gada na de la da no no do do da da la ge do de da do da na ne la do do da de ge de da na ne la de ge de Bune pate yalienda. Yuzumbaza Mahasre Haraga Dene Doji Torva Guru Ram Yam Om Sarva Zudo Sarva Dame Sube Zudo Ha Dumele Dende Rimbo Jene Geje Nodo Doro Daro Doro Mumbo Ponzo Zoba Danjan Gazo Tembo Go Uma Om Om Saradutaraga Sarada Saradutaraga Sarada Saradutaraga Sarada Om Saba Megane Nomo Saba Tataga Daba Yamishu Mugude Saba Tata Mogate Saparana Iram Grenam Gurihan Iram Bavinda Tayeso Om Saba Megane Nomo Saba Tataga Daba Yamishu Mugude Saba Tumide Saparana Miranam Gurihana Iram Bavinda Tayeso Om Zaba Mingane Nomo Zaba Dadaga Daba Mishu Mugube Saba Nugate Saba Ram Guri Hana Iram Balenda Taye Loha Senchen Samje Jowa Dan Dowa Gunda Towa Goji Dorianda Doriege Gunda Dowa Goji Donge Mebe Dumba Dumba Da Nidawa Goji the Nirin Dinanda Dewa and the Sepemela Namba Goji Senchen Samje Jowa Dan Dowa Gunda Dowa Goji Dorianda Doriege Gunda Dowa Goji don't get me better, but me the wago, the one and the seven melon and bagoji, and Jan Jova, the wagon down to bagoji. Dorganda, Dorgege, go down to Wagoji, Dorga, maybe Dambada, made a Wagoji, and down the one and the Sepemela, number good. That's a conjunct when they to what the serving you to what ye go what to the budget about Tanje Zoba Tanje Jigo Sashi Poje Jojo Metro Drum Rebalance Nita Sambagi Senges in the middle Bova Ye Dorgan and the Senda Joba Show. It don't run the Mandrona Khan, Nerataya Me, Sashi Poje Jojo Metro Drum Rebalance Nita Sambagi. Senges in the middle Bova Ye Dorgan and the Senda Joba Show. It don't run the Mandrona Khan, Nerataya Me. Sashi Poje Jojo Metro Drum Rebalance Nita Sambagi. Senges in the middle Bova Ye Dorgan and the Senda Joba Show. It don't run the Mandrona Khan, Nerataya Me. Badu Sata Samaya, Manopalaya, Badu Satu Danova, Dudurudun Magova, Sudogaya, Magova, Sudogaya, Magova, Anaratu Magova, Sola Ziri Nabrega, the Varagama, Bhagavan, Sarada, Badruna, Nemazavan, the Bhavana, Samaya, Badu Sata Samaya, Badu Zaru Nenova, the Magova, Sudogaya, Magova, Sudogaya, Samaya Satu Om Urgen Yuji Nanzan Zan Bema Geza Dumbo Naza Zen Joji Gojune Bema June Zezu Dragodu Gando Mambo Gege Zezu Dadrugi Chenje Laje Zezu Guru Bema Zite Om Urgen Yuji Nanzan Zan Bema Geza Dumbo Naza Zen Joji Gojune Bema June Zezu Kudur Gando Mambo Gege Zazo Dadugi Chenjelo Zazo Guru Bema City Ong again Juji Nanzan Bema Geza Dombola Jazen Juji Gurune Bema June Zazo Gudu Gando Mambo Gege Zazo Dadugi Chenjelo Zazo Guru Bema City Baja Guru Pema Chosen South Samaya Zaza. Siri Hariya. Sri Madhuro Nama Joge Go De Jambu Nama Joge Je. Kadanojo namaju dego lunzondo jetsen la tsowa ye ate bru prate saho Rani no jo don ba don ga ru zo we na me be jo no jo zo rani no jo don ba don ga ru zo we na me be jo no rani no jo don ba don ga ru zo we na me be jo no zo zo ke mu no bu ga da la ma la ne ne zo wa da zo jin je la ga bu no ga da la ma la ne no zo wa da zo jin je la ga bu no ga da la ma la ne ne zo wa da zo jin je la Om Ahum Bhagava Guru Samaside 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 Om Ahum Bhagava Guru Om Ahum Bhagava Guru Om Bhagava Guru Samaside Om Ahum Bhagava Guru Om Ahum Bhagava Om Badagura Mamazade Home Home Badagura Mamazade Home Badagura Zoma Home Badagura Mamazade Home Badagura Zoma Mamazade Zoma Home Badagura Mamazade Sere Home Badagura Mamazade Home Badagura Mamazade Sere Home Soma Om Baja Guru Mazare Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Soma Om Baja Guru Mazare Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Siri Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Soma Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Mazare Om Soma Om Baja Mazare Om Mazare Siri Om Mazare Om Mazare Soma Om Baja Guru Bema Siri Om A I Lebe Lebe O Ananga Kaka Kaka Sasa Sasa Da 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 ba 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 ya wa 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 sha Om Badu Gadu Mama ya Manu Bada ya Badu Gadu Jano Badu Anara da Nagoa Lava Zere Nebe Yadu Dara da Nazu Sada da 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 Mane Muzala de Bava Mahasamaya Sadua Ume Dama Hedo Barawa Hedo da da Haya Wata da da Yimoroa Eva Mane Maha Samana So then either as the deity, so as the deity, whichever one knows that they should have done, I can go into that at some other different time, made a oath to Guru Rinpoche to protect the place, the time, the teachings, the teachers, and the followers of those teachings, to remove obstacles that would delay or avert the recognition of their own intrinsic enlightened nature for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be. Om Shri Benza Hera really, really Om Jo Om Be. Dene Be Jandane Ram Yam Gan, Do Be, Toje, Gunje, Tojo, Damze, Ye, Leme, Tose, Meze, Namge, Tore, Kolo, Ram Yam. Om Sri Gova Zeto Ye 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 Sama Sasona Satsang Ete Doje Nadoro Tende Doje Dorje Choja Om Mahagala Gombo Kaso Togi Geze Moro Moro Tate Baba Nene Damaso Babo Koto Doje Doje Ge Doje Doje Doma Deje Ba Baje Doje Doje Doma Tene Doje Toma Soma So Geje Benga Soma So Ge Doje Doje Toma Soma Ye Doje Doje Doba Gende Ge Doje 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 Toma So Geje Doje 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 Baba Doje Doje Sarge Doje 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 Nebe Dane Jene Doje Dobe Dana Dobe Jena Dobe Puyo Dane Saso Saso Gaso Sote Geba Gaso Gege Sate Bamde Done Kone Doba So Doje Doje Leba Doje Sada Chama Doba Doje Dodo Lobe Beze Geba Don Sone Gane Done Doma Je Jena Dawe Laje Doja Doba Dode Ganda Gado Doje Dori Ganda Saso Jeje Jeba Sama Doje Sa Ganda Jende Kode Choba Dam Gombo Yange Sange Doba So Jere Dobe Magado Doba So Dosun Se Mabo Koji De Doge Bonje Doma Deje Da Dogam Gade Dode Bamba Bol Goje Yena Jamba Soge Dode Dode Soba Soba Ye Dode Dode Doba Gende Dode Dode Doba So Dode Dode Jamba Zengaro Zazo Madhusadu Denoba, Dudu Nobova, Sudokaya, Mabova, Anarado Nobova, Zawadi, Nibrea, Doesn't sit him go home. Zamaya Zadu, Mother Zadu, Namaya, Manoga, Anarado Nobova, Zawadi, Nibrea, Didn't go home. Zamaya Zadu, Mother Zadu, Namaya, Manoga, Sudogaya Magova, Zubogaya Magova, Zedum Guru Home, Bado Nane Musa Mende Bavama, Samaya Tatu, Dususumge Guru Rundoje, Guru Gunda Devo Jamboja, Bajigunso, Tudu Devosa, Zova the Sojin Laduso. Chinan Zoe Bade Jova Na, Zambaluge, Jova Jinjelo, Dususumge Guru Rundoje, Guru Gunda Devo Jamboja. Bajigunso, Tudu Devosa, Zova the Sojin Laduso, Chinan Zoe Bade Jova Na, Sambaluge, Jova Jinjelo. The completion stage, or we could say dissolution, and you just rest. So now you should apply the words of Talopa as you're resting. Let go of what is past. Let go of what may come. Let go of what is happening now. Don't examine. Don't try to figure anything out. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What should I be doing? Blah, 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 blah. Just let go. Don't try to make anything happen. It's already in its unadorned manifestation. Let go, let be. Then relax. When? Right now. And what should you do? Rest. May our consciousness gather together in unity as one. May it be bright with loving kindness and compassion for all sentient beings, like the brilliancy of the sun. May it permeate the totality of the cosmos and fill all of space. And may those rays of light penetrate deeply into the heart space. Open and release. Let your radiant flower bloom, and its fragrance permeates all of space. Breathing out. Origen Origen Lama Doma Pa Dine Shela Kyo Pa Sho Genred Winwa Genwa Senga Zu Baden Dova Malo Duwa Ne Genred Zenwan Dunzan Gazo Jebet Gazo Bado Jengoji Lume Gemni Gazo Denjo Jacob Bogonjo Malo Rimboji Jebe Mezega Jendane La Jendo Da Jenda Jendo Om Zude Zenge Benzenge Bugere Nigga Dona Demba 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 Seven the Zenga Zendonia Dendra Mezege Go after the Doram so Trend Drew Out then the make good said about them. You me wa digi yo wa yi. That's your mother. John doing it. None doesn't engage on that job. Then baby girl, I may shake me. Then was it in you like it. Then baby no that job I get them by your in the pay. Genzo Sinjo Rimboje, Mageba Namge Goje, Banamba, Neba, Ye, Conde, go to Babozo. Gaso, Daye, don't wait, don't dojo, go yen dojo, Meshe dojo. Namba Leba, no good, Nambarum that I see that. Daya Taunga, they got the better, some get the body so. Daya Tamunga, they got the better, some get the body so. Daya Tamunga, they got the better, some get the body. So just last before we have to conclude, look into your own heart and change with loving kindness and compassion and be a benefit to all sentient beings. Look for the blessings in your life as opposed to focusing on the lack in our life. Were you kind today to others and to yourself? And if not, then do so. Have a wonderful afternoon, pleasant and peaceful afternoon. Hopefully, you already are thinking of something fun to do this afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here once again. And hopefully, I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
We will meet in the park at some point.
Yes.
Ramataya, namaste, namaskar.
Namaste.
I will give you a call. We can talk for a little bit.
Bye.
Good to see all of you. Oh, there's Pasang. Tashi Dele.